says about Brady is that, oh, he's got that like intangible, but it's like, well, what's the intangible though? Like, what's the thing that is like that nobody else has that Brady has? Is like the killer instinct. Well, I mean,
I
okay,
just think it's consistency. Consistency is the killer. If you do, if you do your job consistently well, or better than everybody else, right? And not even better than
yeah, I was
everybody else,
gonna
because
say
like I think,
he doesn't even do it better than everybody else.
yeah, I think there are a couple guys in the league like today who I would pick over Tom Brady. But like if you asked me, who over the past 10 years, who would I have wanted on my team above all other people in the NFL? It would be Tom Brady, right? Because
Yeah,
he's just been the most consistent for the longest period of time. I think consistency is the killer. You find something you're good at and you do that consistently, over a period of time, you will eventually rise to the top of your class, no matter what field you're in.
yeah, yeah. Fair enough. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am, and I think that this time next year we are indeed going to be talking about the retirement of one Thomas, whatever the fuck his middle name is, Brady, and that's the bottom
We'll see.
line because Tunde said so. But in any event, we've got some other pressing matters to fucking get through here. Okay, since we're on the topic of football, let's talk fantasy football. Okay, we just had our fantasy draft. I love the meme. Shout out to JP because you were in everybody's chat, just stroking yourself off because, oh man, I've got Devontae Adams. I've got somebody else. I got this other. This is like, dude, we all have pretty fucking decent teams. Calm yourself, relax. Okay,
Not everybody.
mostly everybody. What was your draft grade?
So let's be real. These, so my draft grade was a B.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Right?
Yeah.
No, so my draft grade was a B, and my projection was a record of 2-12. I forget who else in the chat.
How is it a B and your record's 2-12? That doesn't even make any sense.
Exactly. I mean, you can go check our chat. I got a draft grade of a B, and my projected record was 2-12. I think it was like Kristen, who got a draft grade of also a B, and her projection was like 9-7 or something like that. And I think somebody else got a projection of B plus, and their record projection was like 12-2.
Yeah.
So is there that much variance between like a B and a B plus that like you would go from 12-2 to 2-12? So I think the draft grade. I don't know. I don't know if it was the interns. I don't know if somebody's working from home,
you
but not really working.
That joke. You recycled that joke to mask your inner pain.
The intern joke.
Yeah, you recycled it. You said that once.
It's a great joke.
Chat. It's a terrible joke.
Yeah, it's great. I use that joke all the time. Whoever it was, I think the draft grades do as best as they can to like we're gonna try and predict, but like it's clearly not. There's no like MIT algorithm behind it. It's more like a DeVry University algorithm.
Okay, if you say so. How many leagues are you in?
2.
Yeah, I think as you get older, you just like the numbers start dwindling because you can't do it. I can't do it anymore, dude. I literally can't do more than one league. I used to be able to do like 3 leagues, but now I'm just like, yo, I'm just keeping it at 1 league, dude. I can't keep up with that much shit on one Sunday, dude. I can't. I can't. My brain power cannot process that much information.
I like to have 2 leagues. I like to have like a fun league, where let's just see what happens, right? And like you can like draft a little bit crazier. You can like, let me go get this young boy really quickly to see what he's talking about instead of going to get like, maybe I couldn't get Devontae Adams or Mike Evans, but like, let me see what Devontae Smith is looking like, because he was a stud out of college. You know what I mean? Like little things like that, you can take more risks in a fun league. Yeah. But then, I like to have a money league to see if I can, turn 50 into, 350 or whatever the payout is.
Which league is ours for you? Is that the fun league or is that the...
I mean, it's the money league, right? Because we all put in some money, but like not enough to where you're like anxious or you're stressed about it. It's $20. So if you lose, whatever, you lost $20.
We do have the added belt this year. We did add in the belt. I made sure that we added in the championship belt that the winner of the league will receive upon winning the league. So for me, honestly, perhaps even more than the money, I need the fucking belt, dude. I need it. I need the gold around my waist. Okay.
You're not gonna have it. I feel bad for you.
so that I can just bring it to random functions throughout the year. Like, if we fucking, if we're just, hanging out, let's do something. Let's go to a bar. Okay, I'm wearing my championship belt. You can't stop me. Okay, I'm the champ. Okay, I
I
need
know
that
you're
to
a
be my
wrestling
life.
guy, so that belt probably does mean a lot to you.
It does.
I just
It
want the
does.
money. I'm like
I want
Mayweather. I
both.
don't care about the belts. I just want the money.
Well, how you get the money is with the belt. You get the money with the belt. Okay.
Sure.
Anywho. So we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about Michael K. Williams, man. Wolf, what do you say, man? Somebody who's gone clearly well before their time. So for those who don't know, Michael K. Williams, just I don't know. I find it hard to even talk about like what he meant, I guess, to the acting world, because for me, I didn't really catch on with him until like further down the line. Like, so I would see him in a couple different things, but I didn't really like know who he was. The first series that I really watched that I was like, oh shit, like this guy's super talented was actually Lovecraft Country. Was watching that. It wasn't The Wire. I didn't actually watch The Wire until earlier this year. And seeing his turn as Omar on The Wire was, to put it mildly, is mesmerizing. And so Michael K. Williams passed away this particular week. And he was 54 years old. I don't know. I don't think it's been established yet exactly why he passed away, but there's been sort of whispers that it was due to an overdose, which I know he I guess had different bouts with drugs over the course of his life. So it wouldn't be that far of a stretch, but yeah, man. I was talking about this on another platform, and I was saying, like, one of the reasons why I found his turn as Omar, as well as like other characters that he played, so interesting, is that it was the first time that I think you saw this sort of really like masculine character that was gay, especially a black character. And you don't see that very often, because and to have the black community sort of embrace the character of Omar was unique, and for those who might say, oh no, it's not, okay, it points to me another character like Omar that's been as embraced, within the black community, being a gay character like that. No matter what my personal feelings are in terms of being perfectly fine with somebody being gay, talking about the black community at large, it might be a little bit of a different story, in terms of its acceptance, especially like when you're talking about in a mainstream capacity, and so yeah. So when I think of him, I think of what he brought to the screen from that end, and I think that he's irreplaceable, dude. I don't know how you go about replacing a person who brought that to the screen. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously we all know him most from Omar, right, on The Wire. Like you said, here's and I think one of the reasons why Omar stood out so much is not because of his like sexuality, the character's sexuality, right? Not because of the way he looked. It was because of how principled he was, and how he managed to, like, what I found most interesting about him was like how he managed to like still have morals and principles while being involved in like this this life of crime, right? Omar wasn't a drug dealer. He didn't sell drugs to kids. He robbed the drug dealers. He stole from the people who were stealing from his community. I think is like one of the lines or the sentiments that he gave like throughout the season. But he was, despite his sexuality, he was feared. He was respected, and you just had to admire how well Michael K. Williams was able to bring that character to life. So much so that like, but also like after his run as Omar on The Wire came to an end, like I've seen Michael K. Williams in so many other projects that I don't. I know he played Omar, this character I love, but I'm still able to watch his other projects and just like respect his work as an actor. I mean, he was in. Was that movie that I saw not too long ago, and I thought just he played a stellar role in that. He was in 12 Years a Slave. I thought he was really good in that. There was a movie. It was like based in Atlanta. Superfly.
Mm.
I think it was like somewhat of an underrated movie that came out in like 2018 or whatever. He played a really great character in that role. He's just able to mask himself so quickly. He can go from playing Omar to playing, you know, to being in Assassin's Creed, to being in 12 Years a Slave, to, you know, Lovecraft Country, voice appearances on shows like Family Guy or what is that? What is the show called? Like F is for Family, not Family Guy. F is for Family. So he has range, but he, you know, we loved him as Omar, and it was really because of like how he brought that character to life. Looking at the show now, and I know we all say this, but like when you talk about a perfect casting, he was that.
Yeah, I think that sums it up. He was perfect casting for that particular role. Will be missed, man. Yeah, and yeah, I think we could just, you know, leave it there. So, completely shifting gears, dude, to something else. Were you a big Star Trek fan?
No.
Fan. That was a very assertive no. That was like almost an angry no. Are you angry that I asked you that question?
No, I just,
It's like you were
you know, I'm not a Trekkie. I've seen most of the movies, if not all of them. But like,
have you though? I don't think.
Yeah.
You're talking about the newer movies. You're not talking about the old movies.
No. Definitely not the old movies. Like the newer ones. I've seen most or all of them. You know, I like. And this is the second time today, coincidentally, that I've been asked about Star Wars, or not Star Wars, or Star Trek, and.
Big boo boo when it comes to Star Trek fans. They hate it when you conflate it with Star Wars.
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan. Those two don't like each other too well. There's like Bloods and Crips, man.
Short answer is no. Yeah, for sure. Like, and I think it's like Star Trek fans who get the most offended, not Star Wars fans, which is interesting. But, you know, short answer is no. I was never a big Star Trek fan.
Yeah, you know, I really tried to get into it, dude. So for a while there, they would always just show Star Trek like super like early in the morning, like it would be like 3 a.m. in the morning. And so like I just remember like sometimes when I was up like dumb late, I would just catch like a few episodes of Star Trek like super early in the mornings, like usually like on like maybe like a Sunday morning or some shit like that. And
see, I was watching BET Uncut, but you know, that's a different story. We'll talk about that later.
On the day of the Lord? Holy shit, dude.
The best day.
Yikes.
I can, you know,
in your face, God.
And as soon as I'm done, you know, Father, I repent, forgive me for my sins, and then I'm in the clear, all within 15 minutes.
Well, okay, if sure.
That's how it works, isn't it? Don't you just ask for forgiveness and then that's it? I thought that's how the Bible works.
Fair enough. Yeah, I don't know. We got to get our resident Christian in here to explain to us what the proper time is to repent. But anyways, so I remember watching like a few episodes, and I really did try to get into it, but I genuinely think it's one of those things where you had to get into it when you're really young, because by the time you get older, it's just like the subtle nuances of it are kind of lost on you. Like I remember like pouring through like a few different episodes, literally like the original series, and I just remember like, my God, this is like boring. Because it was like, you know, it was like what I think Star Trek, it just turned 55. So this was what in the 60s or 70s, somewhere thereabouts, right? That I was watching some of these episodes from, and they were just like, holy shit, this is. Before they perfected the process, this is, you know, this is showing us, but I say that all with due respect, because there was actually some episodes that I really quite enjoyed, you know, but for the most part, I feel like it was just well before my time, as well as I missed that when I was younger, you know, like, so for instance, like if you didn't watch like Dragon Ball Z when you were younger, like, and you watch it getting older. As you're older, I'm sure you're watching like some parts of the fucking like the Namek saga where you're just like, yo, fam, they've been fucking flying around this fucking planet for like 8 episodes doing jack shit. I ain't with this shit.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, all things are about timing, right? Like, and I try not to be like the gatekeeper of like what is good and what is bad based off of when I experienced it, right? So like, you know, it's a lot of young boys out here, right? And they might tell you that like, oh, like Little Baby is the greatest rapper of all time, and I'm like, what? Like, you know, are we forgetting about like Nas and Jay-Z, and are we forgetting about like, you know, the legends, Big Daddy Kane? Are we forgetting about Rakim? Are we forgetting about like those titans? But at the same time, they didn't grow up listening to that shit. You know what I mean? Like I remember listening to Illmatic, but like a lot of these kids, when they started listening to music, they might have, the first album they might have heard from Nas was maybe, you know, like the letter N or
Stillmatic.
or Stillmatic, or like his maybe even his more recent stuff. So to them, they're like, yo, like what I've experienced in my lifetime of like when I was when those things were like presented to me, that is like the frame of reference that I have. So to your point, I didn't grow up with Star Trek. So if I start watching it tomorrow, I'm gonna be like, yo, what the fuck is this? Like, where is Luke Skywalker? And then I'm just gonna end up pissing people off.
Christ, fuck. So here's what's interesting about that, and we can move on after this. But like, what's interesting about that, man, is that the building blocks of what we have today were built on what was created yesterday, right? So like a lot of what we like about TV and film today has its roots in things like Star Trek, you know? And so that's why I find it kind of interesting to try to go back and watch. It's actually one of my missions to actually go back and watch the show fully, because I feel like you can't really appreciate what you have today if you don't know kind of the history of it. And I used to always think that was like really stupid. Like, of course you can, right? You just don't, because they perfected the process, you know, over trial and error, that they took maybe what they did with shows like Star Trek and just like all these other shows that were around the same time, and they perfected that process. But the thing is that there are things that that can't really be replicated. Like, you know, Star Trek, when you go back, or I mean, and I guess it can be replicated, but not in quite the same way. With Star Trek, when you want to talk about like inclusion and just like talking about like fucking societal shit, like well before it was like vogue to talk about it, Star Trek is that show. Like, you know, to talk just about so many different issues in society, under the guise of like this like fantasy space, you know, odyssey, that like I feel like the need to go back and watch it to see just like because there's so many things you can watch that you're like, oh shit, like that has relevance today. Like, you know, like this is what they were dealing with back in the 60s, 70s, 80s. And we're seeing parallels of it today, you know? So I don't know. As I'm getting older, I'm finding it more interesting to go back. Like right now I'm going back and watching, I'm starting Sopranos again. Just because we talked about it so much with our Greatest Show of All Time tournament.
You're going back to season 1 of The Sopranos?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, I'm watching it now. Mm-hmm. It's good. Would I ever go back to season 1, episode 1?
Well, what show would you go back and watch? Like an older show, unless you're just like no shows. Would you go back and watch?
To be honest, I'm not. Like it has to be a light show, like something like laughable, like The Office, right? I can go back to The Office episode 1.
Why do you think that is though? Like, why do you think that you don't go back to? And this actually ties into, we're going to talk about a completely different show here in a sec, but we're going to talk about like Love Island here in a sec, because you asked me to watch, I watched, and we're going to have a conversation about it because I'm going to try to figure out why you asked me to watch it. But why do you think that is, that you almost like refuse to go back and watch these like heavier shows, but you have no problem watching shows that don't require much like scrutiny, or not scrutiny, but like you don't really need that much to process what's going on?
I would say it's the amount of attention that you have to pay to like comedies, right? Like you can hear the joke, right? You can hear what's going on, and you don't really have to pay too much attention to like the visuals of it all. I mean, and while like a lot of the comedy in The Office, you know, I feel like the show you can watch on mute because it's just like interactions between people, facial expressions, body language, demeanor. Like it was funny in that way too. I mean, I've been in doctors' offices, and they've got the show on mute, and somebody forgot to put subtitles on, and you're just watching this like silent show, and it's still funny because like you see like the interactions, the body language, the facial expressions, especially for like Dwight and Steve Steve Carell's character. I forget his name right now. I don't know why.
Michael?
But anyway, yeah, Michael. Yeah, so it's one of those shows where you can watch it like you can enjoy it from the other room. You can overhear it. Like a lot of times when I'm working, and then my TV's over there, right? A lot of times when I'm working, I'll put on like I'll just turn on the TV and whatever's on, I'll just like overhear it.
Right, but I guess what I'm asking is something like kind of different. Like, so I do that same thing where you just want something on in the background, and you don't want to have to pay too much attention to it. Like I do like a lot of like editing and just like producing, and that just
yeah. Well, I guess the short answer to your question is I can enjoy it, but I don't have to dedicate a lot of time and attention to a show like The Office. But if I rewatch something like The Sopranos and Game of Thrones and like these shows that really require a bit more focus, a bit more attention paid to it, to me, like I look at that as like, all right, if I've already seen it, do I really want to go back and rededicate all that time and attention to watching it? Even if I learn a few more things along the way, is that really worth my time? Or is there so much new content or other shows that I've never seen that I'd much rather experience something that I've not experienced before than go back and re-experience something, even if I really enjoyed that experience. Like my next show that I want to start is Sex and the City, just because I know it's like, a cult classic. It's one of the great shows. And I'd rather watch that even than like going back and watching, Sopranos again or Game of Thrones or whatever.
Do you think when you watch these shows that you fully understand like the things that are going on within them, like past the surface level of X or Y Z happened in this episode, like somebody got shot or somebody, I don't know, said this thing? Like, because as I'm getting again, like as I'm getting a little older, as well as I'm getting like and I want to kind of say this for Love Island, but as I start getting a lot more like introspective of just like me as a person, I want to like analyze things and understanding like why I took certain things out of like The Sopranos when I first watched it, why I took certain things out of Mad Men when I first watched it, and then like also like understanding fully of what I'm watching, like go back and watching like, I don't know, somebody like analyze like all the themes and things like that in Sopranos, and realizing that holy shit, like I missed like half the show because I just didn't like really comprehend like what the fuck it was that I was watching. And so that's what's got me curious about it, to go back and watch it and see, I don't know, like how this version of me sees it compared to like, because I watched it like 6-7 years ago,
Yeah.
So I'm a completely different person, and I feel like I pick up on a lot of different things than I did 6 or 7 years ago.
So for me, like even if I were to do that, go back and watch the show and like see if my either understanding of it or my perception of it, my like how do I view these things differently? Even if I were to do that and go back and do it, like to me, I just I don't see any value in that, because it's like,
well, why? Like, do you spend a lot of time? And I'm sorry, I keep interrupting you, but like, when it comes to like nostalgia, not even nostalgia, but like when it comes to thinking back to things that like even in your own personal life that you've done, do you like, I gather that you don't spend a whole lot of time of like processing things that have happened.
No, I would say the opposite. Like I do my best to process like why I enjoy something and why I've made a decision to invest time or money into the thing before I even do it, right? So I think I do my best to have forethought into like, all right, I'm about to do something. I'm about to start something. I'm about to try something. Why am I open to trying this? And during the time that I'm experiencing that thing, I do my best to like really take time and consideration to give thought to like, am I actually enjoying the thing? Like, what am I taking from it? Like, appreciate like the moments in time, right? Whether I'm going to a restaurant or watching a show, watching a movie, whatever it is. At the end of the day, what I value the most is having had the experience and like, how did it make me feel? Like, did I enjoy it? Did it make me happy? Did it make me sad? Did I learn something from it? If I did, great. If I didn't, but I still enjoy the experience, that's great too. And I prefer to move on to the next experience
Well,
rather
that
than
I
go
guess that
back.
right. But I guess that's exactly what I'm saying is that you don't spend a lot of time reflecting on the thing that you watched. You're just like moving forward, like in terms of like
So,
yeah.
so I mean, so I'll say like at least I would change a few things about what you said, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I I think I reflect on the experience, but it is I don't feel I rarely ever feel the need to go back and re-experience the thing to see how I may respond differently to it. Like I enjoy The Sopranos, I enjoy Breaking Bad. I think Breaking Bad was a great show for so many different reasons of like um, uh, the nuances in between, like the relations of the characters, the growth of the characters, and like one of my favorite episodes is the episode where like he brought the pizza box home, and I think he got into a fight with his wife on the show. He left the house and he was so angry that he like threw the pizza, but the pizza went up on the roof, and like
Yeah.
uh I heard like the writer of the show, like it was like an hour long. I think it was like on a podcast, really talked in depth, deeply about like that particular moment in the show. So it's nice to go back and be able to like um, like re-experience those things. But for me to go back and watch the entire show, knowing that I have to dedicate like 200 hours to it, I'd rather dedicate those 200 hours to a new experience
200 hours. The show
of
only
the show.
lasted. It doesn't have 200 episodes.
It's the first number that came to mind.
Yeah,
It was probably like 6 seasons, 60 episodes.
They're like 10. Yeah, they're like 10 episodes.
So like
in
60
season.
hours.
Yeah.
It sounded a little bit more like, dramatic.
Yeah, I look. I'm not like saying that in a critical sense. I'm saying that because it's like so like I go back and watch like old series. Like I'm trying to think of like there's like an animated series that I went back and watched recently that I was like, holy shit, this is actually like really fucking dope. But I didn't realize it at the time that I watched it. Like I just watched it and I just took the actions that were happening on screen, but I didn't like process the actions that were happening on screen. Like one show that I can definitely say that about is like the Animaniacs, right? There was no way we understood what the fuck was going on in Animaniacs when we were, watching it growing up. There's just no way we processed everything that was fucking happening because we couldn't really understand it, But being who I am now, I'm trying to give a little bit more thought. Now, we had some other stuff that I wanted to kind of get to, but this brings us into something that I wanted to talk about. You sent me a text, 3-4 weeks ago. You said, yo, no, was this even no, this was actually a meeting. We were having a meeting for the show, and you were like, yo, I need you to watch season 5 and season 6 of Love Island UK. And I said, fuck off. I'm not watching that. Don't ever bring that up to me again. And then after we got off that call, I just was like, you know what? Fuck it. And I turned on one episode. I turned on the first episode. My fears were confirmed. It is trash. But then I was like, judging by the style of the show.
And I told you it was trash in the beginning.
Sure.
So
No,
I didn't oversell it.
You did not oversell it at all. But I was going through like the first episode, and as I was watching it, I was like, you know what? This might be a good thing to watch with my significant other. So I stopped watching it, and then I was like, hey, do you want to watch this? And she was like, yeah, fuck it. I like watching trash TVs from time to time. So then we started the journey. My dude, it was a long fucking journey. We're talking 50 episodes in one fucking season of this show. One season, 50 episodes.
Almost as long as Dragon Ball Super.
Jesus Christ. I don't know. Well, no, I know exactly how we got to 50 episodes because they would take one episode and they would stretch it out to like 3 or 4. There would be one thing that would happen, and then that one thing would span 3 or 4 episodes. And they're very good at their jobs, the people who create these type of series, because they're able to make something out of absolutely nothing. And so,
you know what's great? So I'm happy you said that, because like as I'm watching the show, like there are a lot of things that happen in the show, and my girlfriend, she's like, she's like, oh, like why did that happen? Like why did they do that? Or like, oh, that's like that's so not like realistic, or like, there's so many like little details that are happening throughout the show that I'm like, the producers are like curating a lot of this stuff. You know what I mean? Like
100%. Yeah.
obviously, like as they enter the house, they get like they get a wardrobe, right? So like before they even get to the villa, they've got stylists picking out like wear this because like all these dresses are super tight and super sexy, and always have your shirt open, showing off your abs. Oil up every morning before you step out onto the the promenade, bar, terrace, whatever. Like a lot of it's curated, and so from a production standpoint, and obviously the guy Ian, the guy who does like the voiceover for the show, master craftsman.
He's a master. He's trash, by the way.
What?
And here's why he's trash. For one,
oh my god,
like half of his jokes are just plain stupid. They're like it's like hit or miss. Some of them are funny. Some of them, I'm not gonna lie, I did like chuckle or laugh. Some of them was just like, my dude, just go back to the writing board with this, because it just was not great. But then what really pushed it over the edge for me, because I really wasn't a big fan of his, I was kind of like, whatever, until I saw the reunion show, and then saw him in person. Super no wonder why he's like the faceless voiceover on the show, is because he's so fucking awkward, dude. Like he would say shit and like nobody would like laugh, nobody would react. It's like, yo, no wonder why you have to sit in a fucking booth and come up with these fucking, I'm sure, like fucking for 12 hours out of the day, because your live shit is absolutely trash.
Dude, I disagree. I think he's a master, because here's why, right? So you got to think they're in the villa for like 6 weeks, right? 6 weeks is how many fucking days of recording, how many fucking hours. So like every day they have 24 hours of footage. They have to narrow down those 24 hours of footage. Like I would imagine like one episode is over the course of like a whole day or day and a half, right? So you've got 24 to 36 hours of footage that they have to narrow down and edit down to 1 hour. And within that 1 hour, he's also have to do a voiceover. He has to do a voiceover of that footage and like, be like sharp and like being able to follow storylines and make witty jokes about this or that or that.
Well, you realize he doesn't do that. Like, for one, he watches the episode before, like he watches basically, I'm sure, like the raw cut of the episode, meaning that they chop it up and without like the music and all that other shit. He's like watching that version of it, right? Like, as they're putting together the episode, right? And then,
but also, I do respect the craft though. Like even if he sees the raw episode and that he gets like tailor his jokes, I do think to be able to do that across 58 episodes and to be like entertaining and witty and to keep the viewers
but that's what I'm saying is like he's like witty like half of the time. It's like it's different if it's like 75 to 80% of the time he's like, but literally like you cannot deny this dude. Like half of his jokes,
I would say 70%. I would say 70%.
No, dude,
like, I would say 70%.
It's like even in one episode, like half the jokes will be just like all right, and then the other half will be like, all right, like that was a little funny.
Sure, I mean, he's not Dave Chappelle or anything like that. He's a TV show.
I'm not even asking him to be Dave Chappelle, but what I'm saying is that that's like who can't be kind of witty half the fucking time, right? Like
I think you're underselling this. I think he's 70% of the time.
This isn't even the fucking thing that I want to even talk about. Okay,
yeah. Look, your question was, why did I like ask you to watch the show? What was the thing
you wanted me to gain from this? What was the conversation that you wanted to have?
So, here's where I think sometimes you can be like too analytical, right? Like when you say, "Oh, I like to rewatch things to, make sure that to see like what my perception of the thing now was. What did I gain from it? What did I understand from it?" I'm more about experience and like, did I enjoy the thing, right? Like. Does everything that I experience need to teach me something deeper about my inner self, right? My third self, right? The self that I don't even know yet? No. I don't necessarily need to like what I would say is like overanalyze everything. So the reason I asked you to watch the show was because I thought it was very interesting, entertaining television that it's great to like experience. It's one of those things that is great to experience like as a group, right? It's the reason we go to movie theaters, right? We like to watch the thing, but watch it with other people. Like you laugh, I laugh, we're laughing together. This thing's entertaining. It's like it's the reason why Game of Thrones, its popularity, in my opinion, was a large due in a large part to word of mouth. Like, oh, I'm watching this show, you got to watch it too, right? And then by the time you get around to season 6, 7, and 8, People are having watch parties. People are watching it together online live. It's like, you know, something you can watch as a group, talk about it and experience it together, have laughs, enjoy it. Might you learn something from it if you're in a relationship with somebody else? Maybe, maybe not. So I thought like, and I like to share things that I enjoy with other people. Like, you're not like in this other group chat that I'm in, but you know, every time I hear a song on like, you know, the Apple, here are the hits of the week or the month. If I like a song, I'm like, yo, this is a vibe right here. I like when I'm working, I listen to like lo-fi hip hop beats.
Mm-hmm.
So if I hear a beat and I'm like, yo, this is a real like jazzy, funky type of vibe right here. I could send emails to this shit. I'll send it out to exactly.
Yo, yeah, you know you're old as fuck when you're like, I could send emails to this song.
Listen,
Holy shit.
that's what I get paid to do. So, you know, I'll send it out to the boys like, yo, you know, here's like a dope little vibe you guys might like too. If I'm watching a show, and you know, part of the reason that, you know, I know like you're in a relationship, I have a girlfriend, and I'm like, you know what, you guys should watch the show too. Watch it as a couple. It's trash TV you can watch. It's mindless, it's senseless. You might learn something from it. You might take nothing from it. Enjoy it. Check out this thing that I like.
Right. So that was all to say that you generally don't find things. You don't like to process things. If I can pull anything from what you just said.
No, not that's the exact like it's the opposite. It's
how is it the opposite? You literally just said you were making fun of me because I was like, oh, you're always trying to find the meaning in things, and I've always found that like rebuttal like hilarious, right? Because it's effectively saying it's like effectively saying, oh, you like to think, ew. Ugh.
No, because like
so thing, take it in. Don't think about it. Who likes to think about things?
So I think like what happens like in that situation, right? Like let's say I, you know, say to somebody like, oh, you like that thing because like you don't like to process things. You don't like to think deeper about things. You don't like to understand things, right? It's essentially like what I feel like could be what sometimes come off as like the things that I like are superior to the things that you like. Like I'm smarter than you. You like dumb shit. I like smart shit.
No,
blah blah blah. It's not that at all. I think it's I think you process, or maybe I can't speak for everybody. I'll speak for myself. I process.
You could try.
Yeah, I process the things that I'm experiencing, and I like to process those things like in the moment. I process them afterwards. You know, like after I watch an episode of a show or hear a song, like I think about the things that I've heard. When I listen to music, I don't listen to like the beat. I don't really listen to production. I like to listen to like lyrics. Some people listen to music for beat and production and like how the songs are orchestrated and arranged. I like to listen to like the words and the lyrics, right? So I process things. I just don't ever feel a need to like go back and reprocess. You know, like you like to
go
back and rewatch shows.
How is that what you were saying about? And look, I don't want to get into a big argument about this because I know between us this can turn into like a 40-minute conversation. But like, how would that fit? Like because you started off by saying, "Oh, you like to like, you know, try to find the meaning in things." No, this is just trash TV, and you should just watch it and not really think too hard about it. That, and unless I'm misquoting what you were saying.
Yeah, but so like again, like let's say there are like many shows that I watch, right, across a variety of different topics and subject matters and blah blah blah, right? So I just felt like to say like, oh, you don't like to process things is a blanket statement because that ignores all the other things that I watch, which are like, you know, deeply.
No,
like,
I think you're taking that like you're taking that in a personal way, like you're saying that as if it's like an attack on you personally. I'm not saying that as an attack on you. I'm just trying to understand what you're saying. I should have or how I should go into a show like Love Island, because I actually do have some interesting thoughts on it, but I find it curious that that's where you start from is like, you know, you like to watch like A24 movies and you use that as a way to sort of like make fun of the fact that I say like, oh, like I'm trying to find something like a deeper meaning than so the surface thing is.
I think that's great to like be want to like watch things and maybe like want to go back to rewatch things to like understand. No,
this has nothing to do with rewatching.
Listen.
I've never watched.
Follow me.
Okay.
Follow me. So when you say like I'm going to go back and rewatch The Sopranos because I watched it at a point in time in my life and I experienced it, you know, with like the person I was at that point in life. So I'm going to rewatch it and see how my experience now might be different, right? Mm-hmm. Which is great. You know, I admire that. when I say that, like, I don't want to go back and rewatch something, or if I say I like a show like Love Island or I like a show like The Office, because, it doesn't, I don't really have to think too analytically about the thing. It doesn't necessarily mean that I don't like to think or I don't like to process what I'm watching. It means like I have, there's like, I enjoy many different things. I could watch something like Sopranos and enjoy it. I could watch something like UK Love Island and enjoy it. Like, I don't really view any as superior to the other.
When did I say one was superior? Like, is that what you think I'm saying?
Well,
is that what
let's be real. That's the way it comes off. It comes off like super like dickish.
No,
like, oh, you don't like, well, your words exactly were you don't like to process things, which like, definitely is kind of like it's definitely like a dickish thing to say. Now, I'm not calling you a dick. I'm not like super offended, but it's a dickish thing to say. It's like, it's kind of like, oh, like, you're dumb, right? And I know that's not what you were saying, but that's the way like it comes off, right?
No, I'm saying that only as a response to what you said. Like, because I said, oh, like, for one, that I was going back to watching like The Sopranos and trying to figure out like maybe things that I missed, but I also think you could do that with, like, what was surprising to me about watching a show like Love Island was what you can take from it, of like, it's not, you can kind of perceive it however you want to. So if you just want to perceive it as just like this like a frivolous show about fucking just trash people doing trash things, fair enough. But I actually got something really unique from it, and so that's what I was going to talk about. But I only said that you dressed it up as when I first even brought up Love Island, you dressed it up as like, oh, like, I never said it wasn't trash TV, and you like to be like high-minded or say that you got to watch these like brainy things, but it's like I wasn't coming from that direction. I'm wondering why you said what you said, so I don't know if it's like projection or what, but I was trying to figure out like where you were coming from of like why you think that there has to be this like really distinct line between like watching a show like The Sopranos, and you keep quoting The Office, but The Office is it has its like it's a comedy, right? But The Office has so much in it in terms of just like, for one, just the inner dynamics of like work life, and also too, like how this sort of millennial generation processes the working environment, in this sort of like consumerist world that we live in here in America. I feel like it's a really specific quote on that, and you can find it either on an intellectual level, or you can just go with the surface jokes that they tell. I feel like you can find that in The Office, and I believe that you have to draw a distinct line of like, no, The Office is for people who just want to watch shit just to watch it, and not really think about it, and you can watch
so that's not the line that I drew. Like, so like,
fair enough.
What I was saying is like, you can watch a show like The Office and watch it strictly for the comedy, a few laughs. I mean, and there is a lot to take from The Office, right? You can learn a lot from The Office about like workplace environments and like how different generations of people view work. You can take a lot from it, or you can just enjoy it because it's funny. You can watch a show like The Sopranos and you could learn a lot from it about like, how like I think the character Tony Soprano, he's a very like introspective character. Like, he's someone who's extremely complicated, who does bad things but is a good person. The family dynamics, the ongoing or underlying themes of the show, like loyalty and family and like work ethic and consequences, right? Or you can just be like, yo, this is some like wild crime Italian mafia mob shit. You can watch a show like UK Love Island, and you could look at it and say like, all right, this is a very interesting social experiment when you confine people into this like bubble in which they're forced to like examine every aspect of building a relationship, learning about somebody else, going through in 6 weeks what some couples may not, and learning things about each other that some couples may not learn until like a year, right? And they're forced to do that in a 6-week bubble just because of like how much they're isolated, right? So there's a lot to take from it, but at the same time, I can be very honest and say like, it is mindless trash TV, but it doesn't mean that you're not processing it. It just means that like you're taking from it what you want to take from it. If I just want to experience it or enjoy it, I take that from it. If I do want to like examine a lot of the nuances with with my significant other, as I've done episode for episode, like you take that too.
Right. Using your own words against you here, I feel like you're fixated on very one particular word that I might have used, and kind of maybe like not necessarily missed what the other thing that I was saying, but like you're like hyper focused on like the processing, and I didn't mean that as like a slight to you or anything like that. It was, but anyways, getting to.
No, I was focused on like the theme of like and the word process. I think it was a good word, which is why I highlight that, because it is like how you experience something and like what you take from it, right? What you choose to take from it, how you process it. Like again, you could watch Sopranos and you could process it different ways based off of like what you want to take from it. I don't think either is the lesser.
No, I don't think either is lesser, but again, that brings me to Love Island UK season 5. Okay, so it's a show about singles going to this island to find love, and they also stand the chance to win $50,000. But that's kind of just a byproduct, I guess, of the show. So starting the show, I just was like, yeah, this is going to be just a trash show, whatever. But surprisingly enough, my takeaways from the show was that, one, watching these type of shows, I really do get invested weirdly into like their fucking lives and shit, and then like think about it later, like, fuck, why did this person do that? That's some bullshit. Like I remember specifically thinking about like Michael, right? Michael from season 5, how he dicked over Amber, and I was just like, damn, cuz, like, some fucked up shit, that,
for sure.
Michael, him and Amber, like Amber is like this tough person who doesn't really like let too many people in, but she got close to Michael. And then because Michael sensed that like there was some things that were just like, she was hard to sort of like communicate with sometimes, of just like, if he had an issue, he felt like she was like really dismissive of his like things that he considered to be issues, and so he just like straight up, like when they had the opportunity to be separate, and they got introduced to other singles, he like immediately like hooked up with somebody else, and it really sort of like hurt her. And I was just way too invested in that. I was just like, fuck, man. I started thinking about it like, God damn, Michael, what the fuck? You fucking shut up. Wondering, will they get back together? Won't they get back? And it was just like, fuck, I was surprised that like my investment in the show. And I feel like the producers for the show, the editors for the show do such a fucking great job in making you care even when there's not really anything to care about. they somehow make you care about shit, even though,
a big part of the show,
like for me.
A big part of this show is the production value of it. I mean, fucking hats off to all the producers and editors who work on that show, of being able to, again, take 24 hours of footage and storylines and moments and conversations and boil it and create like a story behind it all, right? Yeah. And like, to your point, make you care about these people who you don't even know who they are. So yeah, I'm glad you said that, because like that is a huge nod to them.
Yeah, for sure. Now, the one thing that did get me to start thinking, though, is it's actually a really good demonstration of our inability as humans to be like immediately like self-reflective about the things we do and say, because there were so many points during the show where somebody would say or do something and then be mad at somebody else for doing literally the same exact thing, the same exact way. Like I remember Anna during the course of the show, she was so pissed at Michael for what he did to Amber, but even in that same episode, she very literally did the same thing to Jordan.
Same
and
shit.
It was like that didn't even get brought up as like a thing, with her. It was like, it wasn't like and it's possible that, maybe she was a little bit more self-reflective and maybe they just chose not to show that on the show. But from what we were seeing, that's what it looked like. It looked like there was no like self-reflection. One of the people who I thought like had like almost like the most inability, at least again on the show, right? Like I don't know what they are like, in their normal lives, but Amy, her and Curtis, like almost anybody could see from like a mile away that her like insecurities about having a boyfriend and not, and him not being a dick, that like led directly into Curtis being like, maybe this isn't for me, you know, because what he kept voicing to her was like, yo, I just like, because I think he liked Jordana. Like when everything changed when they went to Casa Amor, when the girls went to Casa Amor and the dudes just stayed at the villa, and there were other people who came in. Other women who came
every season, every season you're watching and you're like, oh, this is nice, and you just wait. Sometimes you can watch watch the first 3 episodes, then skip to Casa Amor. You're like, yo, let's get it popping.
Wild, yeah. So Curtis met Jordan in Casa when the women went to Casa Amor, and the thing he kept saying about her was not only is she pretty, that he felt like, but he felt like his attention turned to her because of her confidence. And I feel like that got completely missed when he was talking to Amy, that she was just all about like, oh, we were supposed to be together and we were supposed to do that. And he was trying to tell her like, fam, no, like I like you, but like it was something about her swag that she was just confident that was just like missing in our relationship. And it just seemed like she was hearing everything but that. And it's just like, but anybody who can be like, watch the show could like clearly see like that was the case, is that like every other thing that she was saying was just like, oh, I think he's going to cheat on me. Oh, I think, you know, he might like this person, or what if, you know, and it's just like, and that got me to thinking about my own life of like, you know, how often am I just immediately not self-reflective about the things that I'm doing and saying, accusing other people of the exact shit that I'm doing. One might call that hypocrisy, but I think I'm starting to develop like a thought that it's not hypocrisy, like almost like, I feel like that's a word that just gets tossed around too much these days, but perhaps just non-self-reflection is, I feel like the more sort of like appropriate term that I'd use in that case. But that's one thing that I really got out of the show, was just like holy shit, us as humans, we really don't like have self-reflection like at all. Like we will definitely tell people like that they're fucked up and they're doing all, we'll have our finger in their face talking all this shit, and then turn right back around and just do the same shit ourselves and not even think about it as like a thing. I mean, it's really interesting.
We'll go to church, and then as soon as the Sunday service is over, we'll go back to sinning, right? So yeah, you're right. Like we are not good at self-reflecting, and even more. What I find even more funny, right, is like we will self-validate our lack of introspection. Like we'll blame it on our religion, we'll blame it on like our upbringing, we'll blame it on our gender, we'll blame it on.
But for somebody else, we wouldn't give that same excuse too. For ourselves, we'll give ourselves that excuse. Oh, well, I'm this way because of X, Y, or Z. But let somebody else say that they have that same issue, then it's just like, well, fuck you on sight. Like, I will not give you that same benefit of the doubt. You know.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I want to be happy, and I want to be respected for who I am, and I want my decisions in life to be respected and valued. But I don't think, I don't think gay people should be able to get married and love each other. It's like, wait, what? Like, didn't you just say that you want your life choices and decisions to be respected and valued and not judged? But as soon as Sunday service is over, you're like, you guys shouldn't be holding hands. Like what? Like little things. So yeah, like again, that's why I like the show. That's why I like Love Island. Like you can watch it with your significant other, and you guys can like in this bubble, you can kind of examine your relationship, and like sometimes you're forced to have conversations about things maybe like you didn't want to have conversations about. But it's also just fun to watch.
Well, yeah, I don't think I'd watch this like if I was if I was single. I don't think that this is a show that I would necessarily be interested in. But I think that what you just said is 100% correct. Like if you are in a relationship, it is a really fucking interesting, because you find out things about the other person. Like, oh shit, like I thought you were this way, and it turns out you're kind of like this way, and maybe even not even in like a bad way, but like in a good way. Oh shit, like this thing that I thought I knew isn't necessarily the thing that I knew, And so I think it's I think it opens up a lot of conversations. Like, they have those games out there that, those like couple relationship games where they just like throw out like random questions. I feel like that's what this series is. This is like it forces you to throw out like random questions. It's like, what would you do in this scenario? And then you're like, oh, word, this is what I would do. And then like, I don't know. Yeah, it's a very never ending. And with all that being said, I refuse to watch any other seasons of the show. I absolutely not. Under no
You're
circumstances.
You're missing out.
Don't believe so. But look, dude, let's chop it up about some movies here. So I want to do these quick trailers and then we can call it a night. So first, we have Don't Look Up, which is a new film starring, and it's directed by Adam McKay and written by McKay as well.
Yeah, this film is starring everybody. Like,
yeah,
it's hard to just call out a few names because you really got to read the entire cast list. Everybody is in this movie.
Yeah, we don't have much time, so we got Leonardo DiCaprio.
No, I mean, yeah. Go through the
Lawrence.
list. I was surprised by how many people are in it, but go through the list.
Timothy Chalamet, Jonah Hill, Kate Blanchett, just a lot of fucking people in this particular movie. Now the
I'm
premise
surprised
for it
Lil
is,
Rel wasn't in this movie.
he might be. I don't know.
He's been in everything. He's been in everything.
He's uncredited. So the premise for the movie is the story of two low-level astronomers who must go on a giant media tour to warn mankind of an approaching comet that will destroy planet Earth. Now, if this is on brand with the things that are going on nowadays, nobody fucking believes them, and everybody's telling them that they are currently anti-cometers is essentially what they would be hearing as a response. But anyway,
that's a thing.
I don't think it's
is that a real thing?
If there's like some sort of impending doom for the Earth, that a comet was heading right towards Earth, there would be endless amounts of people would be like, I don't believe it. This is a conspiracy. The government's making it up. Also fuck vaccines. It's like, wait, we're not even talking about vaccines.
Yeah, what? I'm an American, goddammit. Like, wait.
How did we get here?
Yeah. Anyway, let's watch this show.
Yeah, for sure.
You are here now. You are here now. You are here now. Here now. Your breathing is stressing me out.
This will affect the entire planet.
I know, but it's like so stressful.
Can I get that one more ice water?
I'll get 2 more glasses of white wine. And I don't need the judgy face. There's a comet headed directly towards Earth. Do you know how many the world is ending meetings we've had over the last 2 years?
Drought, famine, hole in the ozone is so boring.
Insane. So as much as I enjoyed that trailer, very funny. I mean, I think whenever Leo and Jonah Hill get together, like there's just some magic there. But you add in that massive cast list. I mean, we didn't even mention some of the big wigs. Meryl Streep, Ariana Grande is in here. I think R. Kelly was on. I thought he was on trial. How did he get in this movie?
Well, yeah, I mean, after getting the credit on Drake's album, he was like, you know what, let's ride the wave.
I'm back. I'm on Certified Lover Boy. Listen, the fans, as long as the music is good, they'll forget about it. Look at Ben Roethlisberger. He won a Super Bowl. They were like, forget what he did. Anyway, this movie, so great trailer. I love trailers like of this style where it, like, you know, it's showing a lot of like the scenes, the moments and so on that's happening, but it really focuses on like isolated voices or moments. Like the beginning of the trailer, you just see DiCaprio. He's hyperventilating, right? He's having this like really intense panic attack or whatever it might be. There are a lot of things that are going on and like other cuts and scenes, but it's just focusing on that, like that breathing, which adds a level of intensity to like all the other moments that you're seeing. Jonah Hill, very funny guy. I think this trailer was cut really well. Was there any music in this trailer? I think it was just
there was score or whatever that they used. I'm not sure if it was an actual song or not, but it sounded like it was like some sort of score. But yeah,
I did not hear any music because I was just so focused on like, you know, the words, and I think they chose those scenes and those that dialogue really, really carefully and really well. So I liked it. It looks good. It's on Netflix. I can watch it from home on the couch.
Yeah. There you go. Comes out December 24th, so Christmas Eve of this particular year. Looks great, man. Looks funny. And honestly, anything Adam McKay makes, honestly, is kind of just gold, right? Like Big Short. He had Vice. So really, he's good to go. Whatever he puts out is usually great. But yeah, that was Don't Look Up, which I'm sure will have a lot of sort of meta commentary about things going on nowadays with just the general state of the world with the pandemic and all that good stuff. But yeah, let's move on here to our last trailer. So we have Come On, which is a film directed by Mike Mills and written by Mike Mills as well. And if I'm not mistaken, Mike Mills also directed the movie 20th Century Woman, which I will forever love that movie. I thought it was a great movie, and I think that actually starred Timothée Chalamet as well, unless I'm wrong about that. But this is starring Joaquin Phoenix, as well as Scott McNairy, which he's a great actor, by the way, Gabby Hoffman, and Jacoby Young-White. This is due out. Actually, I'm not sure when this is due out. I don't know if it has a date yet, unless it does, and I just missed. Release date. It says September 2nd, but that can't be true. Anyways,
bro, listen, we'll find out when the movie's going to be released, at the same rate that we found out when Donda was going to be released. Like, it's
there you go. Yeah, we'll know when we know.
Yeah, I want to see if like any movie studio does that. But yeah, we don't know when it's coming out. Like, Kanye's producing this movie.
That's what Netflix does. Yeah, I know, right? That's what Netflix does all the time. They just throw a trailer out and they're like, we release it when we release it. And then like next week, you'll find out a release. This is about a radio journalist embarking on a cross-country trip with his young nephew. There you go. The ice water. So let's go ahead and check this out for Come On.
To visit planet Earth, you will have to be born as a human child. At first, you will have to learn to use your new body, to move your arms and legs. You will learn to walk and run, to use your hands, to make sounds and form words. There will be so much for you to learn, and so much for you to feel. Sadness, joy, disappointment, and wonder. You will grow up, travel, and work. Over the years, you will try to make sense of that happy, sad, full, always shifting life you are in. And when the time comes to return to your star, it may be hard to say goodbye to that strangely beautiful world. Damn this book.
You're crying.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. You're definitely crying. See, you're crying.
That was the trailer for Come On. Yeah. Look, it looks like we didn't get too much from the trailer, but it looks like it's going to be a fucking heartbreaker, dude. I just sense heartbreak. With this movie. So
the black and the white, the slow pace, the background music, that like slow. I don't even know what that was. Like, what do you think that was? The instrumentals in the background. I can't even isolate what like.
Well, I know that's a particular song.
Violin or something like that.
Yeah, that's a particular song. I forget what it was. But yeah, whatever they were playing there in the background was I don't know if it's like a flute or some shit. But that you just know some tears are to ensue. But
get the Kleenex and have the ice cream ready.
Yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix.
You could be describing something different.
The boy hasn't missed in a while.
Yeah, I know, right? Between like Joker and just like a lot of the other films he's been putting out lately. He doesn't miss too much. Man. But look, man, that was the trailer for Come On. Should be great. It's another A24 project. Looking forward to it. But with that being said, look, I know you gotta hop, so we'll go ahead and call it a night here, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Fade Podcast. As always, please like, share, subscribe. We'll be back next week. Same time, same place. With that, we'll hit the usual protocol.
Paid out.
Peace the fuck out, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy the rest of your week.